Welcome to this week's episode of the Your Practice Mastered podcast. My name is Richard James, and I'm here to talk to you today about this concept of leadership, but not just general leadership, about how to build leaders on your team. I want to inspire you to be a better leader so that you can create better leaders on your team. Whether you have 5 employees, you have 50 employees, it doesn't matter. I want you to be able to do all this without feeling like you're in complete chaos all the time. If you're a 50-person law firm and leadership is a problem in your firm and cost you a particular employee because leadership isn't a problem, what happens is that you lost 2% of your employee base. If you're a smaller law firm and leadership is an issue and it causes you to lose 1 employee, you lose 20% of your overall employee base. So suffice it to say, if you're small and solo and you lost a key team member before, you know what it's like to struggle with turnover and how much work you have to pick up when it happens. So I would argue leadership is more important for you than it is for the larger firm. I'm not saying it's, not important for them as well, but it's like really important for you. I wish I would have known it when I was keep it small, keep it all at a level 1 law firm owner size as well. It would have made my life a lot easier and a lot less chaotic. The person I'm speaking to that thinks, oh, leadership, I've got this dialed in. If that thought crosses your mind, you probably really need to hear this, because what I know about leaders is that they realize that it's never over, it's never ending, it's a perishable skill. If you don't always use it, if you don't always get better at it, just like going to the gym, right? If you go to the gym and build your muscles and never go to the gym again, your muscles will diminish. And so it's the same thing with leadership. It is a perishable skill. It needs to constantly be honed, constantly be tested, constantly be put into action, and constantly grown and learned about. So you really need to pay attention to this. By the way, if somewhere through the middle of this gets a little too deep for you, you think you can't do it on your own, and you want some assistance, you can go to the link below, click on it, and we've got all sorts of resources there for you. Maybe you're thinking, my gosh, I've got this all dialed in already, but I've got some team members who I've tried to lead and they just won't be led. If you've led them to your best ability and they still won't follow along, they're probably going to be happier somewhere else, and you're going to need to move them aside. And that's just a reality of being in business. To be clear, I've had to go through this, and I want you to know that when we have to terminate somebody, it's our own fault. We either hired wrong, we onboarded wrong, trained wrong, led wrong, we didn't create the right culture, whatever it is. And so when that happens, we have to take full responsibility as a leader. And that's the lousy part about leadership, right? We have to give the credit away and we have to take the full responsibility. And so let's talk a little bit about Simon Sinek. As I mentioned, Simon Sinek is who I curated, and he wrote 3 books, Start With Why, Leaders Eat Last, and The Infinite versus the Finite Game. And we're going to pay attention to the infinite versus the finite game. So let me go ahead and play that message from Simon right now regarding this, so he'll explain it to you.
In game theory, there are 2 kinds of games. There are finite games and there are infinite games. A finite game is defined as known players, fixed rules, and an agreed upon objective. Baseball, for example. We know the rules, we all agree to the rules, and whoever has more runs at the end of 9 innings is the winner, and the game is over. No one ever says, if we can just play 2 more innings, I know we can come back. It doesn't work that way. The game is over, right? That's a finite game. Then you have an infinite game. Infinite games are defined as known and unknown players. The rules are changeable, and the objective is to keep the game in play, to perpetuate the game. When you pit a finite player versus a finite player, the system is stable. Baseball is stable, right? When you pit an infinite player versus an infinite player, the system is also stable, like the Cold War, for example. There are no winners and losers in an infinite game. And because there are no winners or losers, players drop out when they run out of the will or the resources to play. But there's no winners or losers. Problems arise when you pit a finite player versus an infinite player, because a finite player is playing to win, and an infinite player is playing to keep the game going. Right? This is what happened to us in Vietnam. We were playing to win, and the Vietnamese were fighting for their lives. We were the ones who got stuck in quagmire. This is the Soviet Union and Afghanistan. They were trying to beat the Mujahideen, and the Mujahideen would fight for as long as is necessary. Quagmire. Now let's look at business. The game of business has existed long before every single company that exists on this planet today. And it will outlast every single company that exists on this planet today. There's no winning the game of business. And the reason is because we haven't agreed to the rules. I get such a kick out of this. You realize how many companies actually don't know the game they're in, right? Listen to the language that the companies use. We're trying to beat our competition. We're trying to be number one. Did you know that we were ranked number one? Look at the listing. Based on what criteria? Revenues, profits, market share, square footage, number of employees, based on what time frame? A quarter, a year, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, 50 years, 100 years? I haven't agreed to those standards. How can you declare yourself the winner? How can you declare yourself number one where no one else in the game has agreed to the rules? It's arbitrary. There is no winning because there's no end. In other words, companies are playing finite games. Listen to their language. They're trying to beat their competition. What does that even mean? It's the leaders in the companies that understand the game that they're in and organize their resources and their decision-making around the infinite contest that outlast and frustrate their competition. All the companies that we refer to as the exceptions, Southwest Airlines, Apple Computers, Harley Davidson, they're the exception. No, they're playing the infinite contest. They frustrate their competition, is what happens.
So look, this idea of the infinite game that Simon Sinek is talking about, remember, is this idea that there are known and unknown players, there are rules that change, and the players of the game, they are trying to keep the game perpetuated. So in business, you keep going until you choose to stop, sell, retire, close your firm, or you like run out of resources. You go bankrupt, right? Fundamentally. Now, the challenge that I have with this is that while I agree with Simon that this concept is true, I think he would have been better served using business examples because there is a finite game that happens inside of the infinite game. Let's just say you play this infinite game, this idea that there is no end, we're always going to play. The problem is the mantra of the infinite game, these big companies that he talks about, is growth at all costs. Don't worry about profit, just grow, grow, grow. And that tends to be the message of these VC-funded companies. And I disagree with that. And I know that's not true of everybody, and I don't want to throw a blanket over all of these statements, but fundamentally speaking, that tends to be the mantra of somebody who plays the infinite game and the infinite game only. You have to be willing to play the finite game. And the finite game really says there are known players, there are specific rules, and there is a beginning and an end to the situation. There's winners and losers per se. And so inside the infinite game, there are finite games. If you don't believe me, think about the initial consultation. There are known players, there are specific rules you should follow, and there is an end or a winner or a loser in that initial consultation. They retain the firm or they don't retain the firm. And so if there is one finite game inside the infinite games, there's probably many finite games inside the infinite game. And there are. We call those the four pipelines, right? The new client development pipeline, the profit pipeline, the workflow pipeline, and the talent pipeline. And then we use arithmetic to determine the KPIs of those pipelines to determine whether they're efficient or not. These are all finite games. The challenge is, the reason why business is so hard is because you are pitting a finite player with an infinite player inside of business. The CEO, it really should have this infinite mindset. And the reason is this. If you just play the finite game, the problem is that it feels like you're in a battle every single day. Every day you win or lose consults. Every day you win or lose leads. Every day you win or lose battles in court. Every day you win or lose against clients. Every day you win or lose against opposing counsel or what have you. And what happens is you get these huge peaks and these huge valleys, days that go really, really well and days that go horribly. And you feel exhausted. Maybe you're sitting here right now going, yeah, I'm burned out. I get it. This is why, by the way, running a business is hard. Running a law firm is really, really difficult because of the nature of the business that you're in. And because most of you are doing this yourself and running the business, it's just super difficult to operate like this. And so what I need you to do is lay over the infinite game mindset and understanding that, okay, every single day I don't have to die on the battlefield or win the fight. I realize I'm in this until I decide to no longer play it, retire, close my firm, quit, go work for another firm, or God forbid I go bankrupt. Now listen, you shouldn't have to fight these battles every day. We have to take this infinite mindset. So if I can get you to roll over the infinite mindset over the finite games, then you'll be great. Now, but here's the problem. The temptation is to play the finite games every single day and have all of your focus on it. And the reason why is because it works. We are doing what we're doing because we believe there's a place in which law firm owners could run a profitable law firm, run by systems, led by people, so it supports their lifestyle rather than undermines their lifestyle. And if they so choose to sell their practice, they can do so at a highest possible multiple. I believe that's true. And I believe it's possible. But if you're struggling with this because you're burned out, and you're struggling with this because you don't know if you want to put in the work to do what I'm telling you to do, and maybe you don't even believe me that it's possible, I'll tell you that you should sincerely consider figuring out what your why is. Read Simon's book, Start With Why, and start to get clear on why you're doing what it is you're doing. I think if you do that and rebuild your environment, you might actually enjoy going to the office again. I hope you found this helpful. If you need more guidance, visit the link below. We've got lots of resources for you. Love for you to join us in downloading some more content, some more tools for you to be able to use. Or if you want to join our world, there is a process for that as well. But for today, if you like what you saw and you heard, you can hit subscribe, like, you can share this, you can comment on it, and we'd love to hear from you. Hope you found this helpful. Let's go build you a better practice, one leadership principle at a time.